Washington Spirit will open up their season Saturday night at Audi Field. Their home season had a tough one to open the regular season, but long season ahead. And we're pleased to be joined by one of their top rookies, Hal Hershfelt, with us here on the show. Someone I got to know very briefly, very quickly last week at Ashley Hatch's Pro Camp. So, Hal, thanks for coming on the show. Excited to talk to you into microphones.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
So this season so far, you've had great training sessions. We were talking about that the other day, but what was game one like to finally be out there, start and play real NWSL minutes?
The first game, honestly, as a rookie coming in, was just a once in a lifetime experience that I'm always going to remember. Of course, the results weren't what we wanted, but it was just a great moment. I'm going to look back on that forever. So.
When we talk about rookies in all sports, the speed of the game tends to be the thing that people really say, like, oh, that's the biggest difference. How do you compare like the difference in college to practice to that first game over the weekend?
Nothing compares to that first game. I feel like obviously we're very intense in practice. College, I would say, is a completely it's definitely a lower step from this league. Just like the sheer physicality of everyone is insane because obviously you're taking the most physical players out of college and you're throwing them all into one league. So that was definitely a step up. That's something that you kind of have to keep in the back of your head. But the atmosphere definitely adds to that first game feel. I mean, the crowd, that definitely makes tensions 10 times higher than they normally would be. Because we had a few preseason scrimmages. But once again, that first game with the crowd was just something different.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's funny you mentioned the physicality because I feel like across the league this weekend, there was a bunch of rookies who had some pretty physical tackles and weren't afraid to mix it up. What gives, and you were certainly, in the middle of that. Obviously, Kate had that tackle that got carded and you're like, oh, Kate, slow down. But, you are that ability to come in and kind of match physicality. What is that like as a rookie? Where does that fearlessness come from? Do you think not only for you, but for your peers across the league?
I feel like that fearlessness comes from we're all kind of young blood coming in. We want to make an impact and we want to do it as quick as we possibly can. I mean, we're all fighting to win. We're all fighting for spots. So it's you got to do what you got to do. And we come into this league out of college, knowing that it's probably one of the most physical leagues in the world when it comes to women's soccer. And that's what you got to do.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to get to know you a little bit more off the field. We'll circle back around on the field stuff in a second. But as I was Googling and doing my research, because I'm a professional and that's what I do, I came across your LinkedIn, and your major was psychology at Clemson. And it says that you also have an interest in homeland security and defense. One, is that still accurate? And two, if that is accurate, what was it like getting drafted to Washington, D.C.? And are there things you want to explore in D.C. in those spaces?
Yeah, so it's funny you say that. I should probably work on my LinkedIn. But,
right, yeah, you should update it to say professional soccer player, Washington Spirit. Other than that, yes, I think you're probably all right for right now.
I definitely need to update that. But yeah, so my undergrad was psychology and I minored in criminal justice. I just got my master's this past fall, finished that up, and I got it in public administration and I minored in emergency management. And my dream career, obviously other than being a professional soccer player, was to be an FBI agent, which was so cool because I heard that they've done tours of the facilities and stuff like that through the Washington Spirit. So that was obviously really sick coincidence. But yeah, that's definitely something that I'll probably be asking somebody about at some point because I think that stuff is just so cool.
Where does that interest come from? When did you start having
So
that
I grew
interest?
up in a military family.
Okay.
So I feel like I've always had kind of an interest in that sort of stuff. But when I was younger, I mean, it's so basic to say, you watch TV shows and stuff and you're like, wow, I want to be that. That's kind of, kind of cool. So.
Yeah, definitely. And there's definitely great opportunities. Quantico's a bit of a drive, but I'm sure that on an off day or something, you could get down there. And I'm sure Michelle's got to know people. Michelle knows people everywhere.
Michelle probably knows everybody. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So have you had a chance to explore DC at all yet? What kind of things have you been able to do? I know you guys obviously were traveling a lot in the preseason, but what's either been the coolest thing you've gotten to do in DC so far, or what's on the DC to-do list for you?
Yeah, so I we went up to DC. We've had a few appearances up there. So the first one, my first couple weeks being here, we went to the Black History Museum, which was so cool, and it's right near all the monuments. I definitely want to see the cherry blossom thing. I know that's like a huge deal here, and I was like, I have to see it. And it's coming up. I mean,
yeah, I mean they're kind of in bloom right now, so
yeah,
you definitely see like, you know, around the game either this weekend or maybe you come back on Sunday after you guys play. Like that's definitely a good play.
Yeah, and then I'm a big foodie. I want to try all the good restaurants up there. I'm gonna have to start asking around for that though, because I need some recs.
You and I, you know, I don't want to like give people free publicity. I mean, are some people that I would happily give free publicity, especially if they want to like invite us in.
Yeah.
But you know, if you and I can talk, we got some. Okay. Like, what's your favorite? Yeah. What's your favorite kind of food?
I like any Asian food, like Vietnamese places, sushi, all about that. And then honestly, just when it comes to trying new things, anything. I'm not picky. I will literally go for anything.
So the cool part about living in DC, and especially you guys are obviously based out in Virginia with the training facility out in Ashburn, is there's a huge Asian population in huge pockets of Northern Virginia. And so like Vietnamese, for instance, there are like certain towns in Northern Virginia that any Vietnamese restaurant you go into is going to be some of the best Vietnamese food you've ever had in your whole life.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
So, yeah,
that's my favorite. Like pho, that's my favorite.
So many good pho places.
Yeah.
You know, we got some great Chinese food restaurants that we can send you to in DC and around. So yeah, we'll make sure that my list gets in your hands. We can coordinate. We can coordinate that. By the way, my favorite. So for those that don't know that are watching, Hal went to Clemson, which I'm very familiar with as a Greenville native myself, and so I have to ask you the obvious Clemson food question, which is, what is your favorite flavor of Clemson ice cream?
Clemson ice cream? Ooh. Shoot, I don't know. Do you know the place Spill the Beans in Clemson?
Of course I know Spill the Beans.
Yeah, of course you do. I would get like the strawberry shortcake flavor. It was so good. I like strawberry flavored things, so that was what I would go to every time.
I've definitely had that. It is delicious. I was though like, do they still have the creamery on campus though?
The creamery? Yeah, like you know where the cow fields are and everything?
Yeah. Like there's like yeah, there's like incredible, like some of the best ice cream I've ever had in my whole life on campus at Clemson.
Yes.
And I feel like if I was a student,
that farm, it's straight from that farm. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, no, it's a high bar of ice cream at Clemson University. All right, back on the field to wrap up here. You obviously are getting to play in a midfield with Andy Sullivan, which is a treat. What have you learned from Andy so far, and playing, you know, just observing her, and maybe any conversations you've had with her about the game?
Definitely with her, something that I kind of like watch her for is just like how talented she is with like distribution. That's something, and like decision making. I feel like decision making is something that like you could always improve on throughout your career, and she's just like so experienced in this league when it comes to that. So that's definitely something that like I watch her game for, I feel like.
Do you feel like, this might be a weird question, but like, do you feel like the psychology background that you have, like when you think about how you learn yourself as a player, like, do you feel like there's any crossover there, and that you have, like know certain things about yourself because of the education that you got as a psychology major?
Honestly, maybe a little bit, but then also like I feel like I've always had like good sports psych resources like at Clemson and even here. So I feel like a lot of that stuff has some influence too, helps me learn about myself a lot. So we get it from all angles, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing you learn when you learn about psychology is like there's only so much you can do to yourself. So that is definitely a thing. For sure. And then last thing, like for you, what do you consider a good rookie season, a successful rookie season?
I feel like the obvious answer, like developing as a player, winning with my team, obviously, but something that I'm really looking forward to is kind of like building those connections with my teammates. Just because I feel like it's so much easier to want to like buy in, I guess, when you just have like love for your teammates and the people around you. So just building relationships with them, developing like my decision making, you know, how I am as a player. I feel like those are some important things.
Yeah, no doubt. You guys have such a great group of rookies and so many great girls, great women that were already in the club. So excited to watch you guys this year. Have fun at Audi on Saturday. That place is going to be bonkers on a Saturday night.
So excited. Yeah.
Have you been outside of like the first look stuff? Have you like ever had a chance to go to a NWSL game where there's 15,000 people?
The first look was my like first time ever being in it. I mean, I'd seen it on TV and stuff, but that doesn't do it justice. It was just so cool just to like stand on the field and be able to look up, and I'm like, wow, this is like the field that I'm going to be playing on now. So
you sure are. Saturday night, 7:30, Ion. It's got it on TV. And I do believe there are a few select tickets available remaining at WashingtonSpirit.com/tickets. Hal, thanks so much for your time. And we will have to talk to you later in the season and see how the development is going.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you.
What's up, kiddos? It's your boy Clinton Yates from ESPN. It's the Hoffman Show on the Team 980. Tell your mama I said what's up.